Every year, humanity produces over 400 million tons of plastic, and nearly half of it is designed for single use, used once and thrown away. From food packaging to shopping bags, plastic has shaped modern life, but it has also created one of the planet's greatest environmental crises. Oceans are choking, wildlife is suffering, and microplastics have even been found in the air we breathe and the water we drink. But amid this crisis, a new hope is emerging. Biodegradable plastics. Materials that promise the convenience of plastic without the pollution. But can they truly replace conventional plastics? What is their future? Let's explore the science, the challenges, and the vision for the future of biodegradable plastics. To understand the future, we need to understand what biodegradable plastics really are. Unlike traditional plastics made from petroleum, biodegradable plastics are designed to break down into natural elements water, carbon dioxide, and biomass through the action of microorganisms. But here's the catch: not all biodegradable plastics are created equal. There are two main categories. 1. Bio-based plastics made from renewable resources like cornstarch, sugarcane, or potato starch. 2. Petrochemical-based biodegradable plastics made from fossil fuels but still engineered to biodegrade or degrade under specific conditions. Common types include polylactic acid, polyhydroxyalkanoates, and PBS, polybutylene succinate, each with unique properties and environmental impacts. PLA, for instance, is widely used in food packaging and 3D printing. It's made from fermented plant starch and can degrade under industrial composting conditions. For the other hand, it is produced by bacteria that consume organic material and can biodegrade even in marine environments. These innovations hint at a future where plastics and nature might finally coexist. Biodegradable plastics hold enormous environmental promise. Imagine packaging that disappears safely after use, or agricultural films that decompose back into the soil instead of being burned. If adopted widely, biodegradable plastics could help reduce landfill waste, prevent ocean pollution, and lower carbon emissions compared to fossil-based plastics. For example, bioplastics can reduce greenhouse gas emissions by up to 75% compared to conventional plastics, depending on their source and disposal method. Moreover, using plant-based feedstocks shifts us toward renewable materials rather than depleting finite petroleum resources. However, as with most solutions, the devil is in the details. Despite the excitement, the road ahead for biodegradable plastics is far from smooth. One major problem is misconception. Many people believe a biodegradable means a plastic will simply vanish in nature, but most require specific industrial composting conditions, high temperature, humidity, and the presence of certain microbes. In a landfill or the ocean, these materials can persist just like regular plastics. Another issue is infrastructure. Industrial composting facilities are limited and unevenly distributed across the world. Without proper collection and processing systems, even the most biodegradable plastics end up in the wrong places. Then comes cost. Producing biodegradable plastics is still significantly more expensive than petroleum-based plastics, largely due to smaller production scales and higher material costs. And finally, there's the question of feedstock. Using crops like corn and sugarcane for plastic production raises concerns about land use, food security, and the carbon footprint of agriculture. To make biodegradable plastics truly sustainable, scientists and industries must address all these challenges, from raw materials to disposal systems. The good news: innovation is accelerating fast. Around the world, researchers are pushing the boundaries of material science to create plastics that are strong, affordable, and truly eco-friendly. One breakthrough involves using algae, waste cooking oil, or even food waste to produce biopolymers, eliminating competition with food crops. Companies are experimenting with bacterial fermentation to produce A, which naturally biodegrades in soil and marine environments. Others are designing enzymatic additives that help conventional plastics degrade faster under normal conditions. Meanwhile, startups are creating compostable packaging for food delivery and biodegradable fishing nets to prevent ghost gear pollution in oceans. And on the recycling front, some researchers are exploring chemical recycling, breaking down biodegradable plastics into their original building blocks to be reused again and again. With each breakthrough, the dream of a circular, sustainable plastic economy gets closer to reality. Technology alone isn't enough. The future of biodegradable plastics also depends on policy and public behavior. Governments are beginning to act. The European Union, for instance, has set ambitious targets to replace a portion of fossil-based plastics with bio-based alternatives. Several countries, including Japan, the UK, and India, have introduced bioplastic certification standards and incentives for green manufacturing. At the same time, consumer awareness is growing. People are demanding eco-friendly packaging and supporting brands that prioritize sustainability. However, to prevent confusion, clear labeling and education are essential. Consumers must understand the difference between biodegradable, compostable and recyclable materials and how to dispose of them properly. When governments, industries and consumers work together, biodegradable plastics can become a cornerstone of sustainable development. So, what does the future hold? By 2050, experts predict that bioplastics could account for 30–40% of global plastic production, up from less than 2% today. Next-generation materials will likely be bio-based, marine-degradable and recyclable, blending performance with environmental responsibility. Factories could rely on carbon capture technologies, turning CO2 into raw materials for bioplastics. Recycling plants could separate, process and return bioplastics to the production cycle. Completing a closed loop, imagine a world where plastic waste is no longer a threat but a resource, where every package, every bottle, every utensil is designed with its own end of life in mind. That's the vision guiding scientists, entrepreneurs and policymakers today. The journey toward a plastic-free planet isn't easy, but it's possible. Biodegradable plastics represent a crucial part of the solution, not a perfect one, but a promising bridge between convenience and conscience. As technology improves, costs drop and global awareness grows, these materials could redefine how humanity interacts with waste, nature and the future itself. Because the real question isn't whether biodegradable plastics will replace conventional ones, it's when and how responsibly we'll make that transition. The future of biodegradable plastics is not just about materials, it's about mindset, innovation and our collective will to build a cleaner, smarter and more sustainable world. Music fades out, screen fades to black with text. The future of biodegradable plastics, shaping a sustainable tomorrow.